Good morning and welcome to the Birmingham Area Cable Board meeting for Wednesday, March 18th, 2026. Before we have Gail call the roll, there are a few hellos and goodbyes. First, we'd like to say hello to our newest member, Bill Frickman.
Welcome, Bill.
Welcome.
Bill is a longtime resident of the city of Birmingham and will be a Birmingham representative. And Bill, we're really happy that you're joining us. Unfortunately, having to say goodbye to Donovan Shan. Donovan has been a long-time member. He's decided to step back. So for a while, we had maximum capacity in the board. It was very short. So now we're one person down from the city of Birmingham. So if anyone out there has any interest, please contact us. We also want to say goodbye to Carrie Lazat from BCTV. She's decided to move on. Carrie, thank you for everything you've done for us, and we certainly wish you the very best of luck. With that, item number one, roll call. Gail, go right ahead.
Rick Davis.
Present.
Donovan Shan. Deanna Brown.
Yes.
Dee Hageman. Jim Cleary.
Here.
David A.
Here.
George Abraham. Pete McDonald.
Here.
Rick Moon.
Here.
Here he is.
Here.
Roll call.
Here. Here.
And George Abraham is now here also, as he's just walked in. Good morning, George. Okay, item number two, to approve the minutes for our last meeting of January 21st, 2026. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Motion by Dave, second.
Second.
Second by Ray. Any discussion, any corrections to the minutes? Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes? Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, motion passes. Item number three, public comments. There are no members of the public present this morning.
Smart.
So we move on to item four, our annual audit presentation for our fiscal year 2024-25, Gabbridge and Company. And we're doing that by Zoom. And we have on the line Alyssa.
Good morning.
Good
Can
morning.
everyone hear me okay still?
Could you say that again, please?
Can everyone hear me okay?
Can now, yes, thank you.
Okay. So to start, everyone can see the PowerPoint that's up too, correct?
Yes.
And does everybody have a copy of the audit report? I have page references on here. So if you do have it in front of you, you can kind of follow along with what I'm talking about.
It has been sent to all of us, yes.
Okay. So the first thing is starting at page 1, there is the independent auditor's report. And the important thing here is that we issued an unmodified opinion, which is the highest opinion. This means that we found no major issues during our audit and the financial statements looked great. Another thing to note here was that there was a new Governmental Accounting Standards Board standard, and this was implemented correctly, and the opinion on that was also unmodified, which means there were no issues in the implementation. And you can see more details regarding the standard in note 7, which is on page 28. Some of the financial highlights, which you can see on page 5, are that the net position was about $1,681,000, which was an increase of about $30,000 compared to the prior year. And I'll talk about some of the changes in a second in the next couple of slides. Another financial highlight was that the general fund balance was about $1,485,000, and the unassigned fund balance in the general fund was about 114% of general fund expenditures. So this is a great balance and everything is looking wonderful. The next thing, which you can see on page 7, is the net position comparison. Some of the changes here are that capital assets increased about $20,000, which was related to the purchase of production van equipment. And accounts payable decreased just based on the timing of invoices. The prior year had an outstanding invoice of about $75,000, and there wasn't anything similar in the current year. On page 8, you can see the changes in net position. Some of the major changes here was that total revenues decreased because of the shift in consumer spending that relates to streaming services. There are also fewer grants, which decreased the PEG operations expenses. And the board operation expenses also decreased, which was related to unspent franchise fees. In looking at the revenue analysis on page 9, you can see that most of the revenues come from franchise fees and PEG fees, and then the remaining comes from investment income. And that just covers the main overview of the audit. Continuing through the report, you can see the financial statements in detail, and you can see more information about some of the balances in the notes to the financial statements. But that is everything I wanted to cover just for the summary of the audit. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Okay, do we have any questions? Okay, I guess no questions. Alyssa, thank you so much for the presentation.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Okay.
Enjoy the rest of the day. Am I good to end the meeting and leave?
Yes, you're free to leave. Thank you.
Alyssa, before you leave, I just want to say it's been a joy working with your firm. This is our first year working with your firm, and it's been a positive experience, so thank you.
Wonderful. I've heard great things with you guys too. I didn't really work on the audit, but I'm happy to present, and I heard great things, so keep up the good work.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Just like to indicate, that's the first year that we've had Gabbridge and Company. In past, we've had live presentations, and they've brought a copy of the audit to pass out. Kathy sent it to us
Yep.
electronically. Next year, we'll have copies here also, so we'll have it in front of us. But I think they did a wonderful job, as Kathy indicated. Also, how much did we save over last year? About $7,000?
I think so, yes.
Over
yes.
what we
Yes.
were charged last year, so that's
Yep.
really good. Okay. Mr. Aboud's here this morning. Good
Chairman,
morning,
before
Mr. Aboud.
Hang on a
Glad-
second.
Good to see you.
If you don't mind in the future, if I just get a copy of the audit, things.
Sure, we can provide that with you. No problem. Rick David.
One thing they didn't talk about is in the packet we received, they also included what they call a management letter, which outlines for the board the comments from the auditor of their observations about our policies, procedures, internal controls. They did identify one weakness in our internal controls, which is regarding segregation of duties. It's hard to segregate duties when you only have one person doing the work. So they talk about the fact that the president reviews everything, and we have the monthly reviews or quarterly reviews by the Board of Financial Activity, which oversees and compensates for our lack of segregation of duties, but it is an identified weakness.
Okay, I guess we can try and talk about how to address that weakness, but.
We do address it, it's just I wanted to have the board be aware, they did make a comment about it, as they do every year.
Yeah. You're right, with one person doing all the work, it's not an easy thing to do. We have, though, addressed it in the past year or two, in that all the expenditures that Kathy pays go through me. I approve everything before she can write a check, so that is something that just started 2 years ago.
Yes.
So, anyway, I think that's about as best we
That's
can
right.
do. So,
Yeah.
but thanks, Rick. Okay, we're going to move on to item number 5, which is the approval of the administrative grant payments for fiscal year 2024-25. You should have attached to your package a memorandum from Rick David dated this morning. And Rick, we're going to turn that over to you.
Thank you. As Gil said, in your packet, we have a few pages of information. Overall, we went through a process this year consistent with last year where we look at the excess of revenues over expenditures of our franchise fees, and we then allocate a percentage of that back to the various communities on a pro rata basis. I'm proposing that this year we be consistent with prior years and we rebate back 40% of the excess.
40%?
40, yes.
Okay.
That would result in a proposed grants of approximately $71,366, and the breakdown is shown in your packet. So and that's what we've done. It's consistent with last year. And since all the communities were up to date on their payments, we're not going to have to withhold any of the payments until we get their money in. Prior years, 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, we consistently had entities that weren't up to date as of year end, so we had to play around with that and get to the right number, and it, much of a hassle, and we don't need to go through that process anymore. So the proposal is that we do it at 40%, and we allocate it as I outlined it in the memo. We approve it to the various communities. So I make that proposal.
Okay. So before we ask any questions, I'd like to entertain a motion, and the motion would be to incorporate the recommendations that are found in Rick's memo dated today. So can I have a motion, please? Motion by DE. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ray. Okay, any further discussion? Any questions for Rick?
How much was it what was the percentage last year?
40,
40 last year.
yes.
And you're recommending the same this year? And you mentioned that in your recommendations that the truck that there's, a possibility of some work being done on it. Why did you mention that?
Well, consistent with what I put in my last year's memo, we're looking down the road, and at some point that truck will need to be replaced. We're trying to create some funds in advance in a sinking fund, so to speak, so when the time comes to replace the truck, we have the funds available to do it. And we'll talk in a minute about the overall financial health of the organization.
Wouldn't that mean that you'd want to retain more money than last year?
Well, actually, when I first joined the board, we were only retaining 10%. Now we're retaining 60. So we have increased it over the last 3 or 4 years to keep more in. And if the board wants to keep more, we keep more. I'm trying to find the right balance between growing our fund balances and giving back excess.
Yeah, George, for years, we were giving 90%. That went on for a number of years until the revenues just kept decreasing, till last year we reduced it to 40. And Rick's just being consistent with last year. Might even have to go less than that at some point. I don't know.
Right, so why are we at 40%? I mean, why don't we just keep all of it? I don't understand.
I think that one of our objectives is to give back to the communities as best we can. I think Rick just chose a number that he feels is conservative, yet still giving some money back. I don't think we're to a point yet where we should just say we can't give anything back.
And, we have these requests like a drone and...
Well, we're going to talk about that at another time, I guess.
Well, we've had big requests, like the Birmingham School Board. That was the largest we've ever paid out.
That's now, we're 2 years away from that one, so 3?
No, 2.
2.
No, it's 2.
2.
Okay.
Well, I mean, what do you think we should not give anything back?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like we shouldn't give anything back, and then, if it turns out we're flush in a couple of years, then just give them something.
I don't think we're ever going to be flush, okay? I think those days are gone.
Well, then, right, so then...
But I think, though, and this is just my feeling, probably Rick's too, to go from 90 to 40 to nothing in 2 years might not be the way to go. So I think what Rick's doing is conservatively going down significant amount of money,
Right.
but still giving back something.
This year, we could go down to 30 instead of the same as last year.
Okay? So that's how you feel we should go to 30?
I think so.
Okay. How do the rest of you feel?
Well, I mean, how much is our revenue down, or is there a chart that shows?
Yes, there is. And
Yeah.
in the next, let me go.
Segue right in for you?
Segue, right.
Yeah.
In your packet, the other page, I was going to discuss after this proposal, I'll bring it up now. I provide a 7-year trend analysis of our revenues. And you'll see when it relates to franchise fees, we're dropping last year 7.29, this year 7.07%. It's continually dropping. It's been a drop since 2020.
Oh, I see.
And the PEG fees similarly are dropping at a 7% per year. So it is, we're dropping down. It also shows our fund balance is still healthy at overall $1.6 million. Now, what you'll hear in most cases as if it was a government, I think the rule of thumb would be 3 to 6 months of operating expenses. We don't have much operating expenses per se other than our grants, and our grants are variable. So from that point of view, our annual revenues were about $600,000 a year. We are well beyond, almost 3 times our annual revenues in our reserves. However, we do have the situation where certain of our funds are restricted for PEG operations, for capital items, which is where the truck comes into play. And in our PEG accounts, you'll see again our fund balance for PEG, it's been decreasing for the last 4 years. We've spent more on PEG items than we take in PEG revenue. That's historical. Our contract alone with the with the BCTV, that contract alone is more than our PEG revenues. So we're eating into our fund balance every year just when we open the doors before we make one grant. So I'm trying to balance the being fiscally responsible, not setting up a huge sinking fund, but looking at the fact that we have decreasing revenues, we have potential capital needs up front. If I was a government, we're overfunded because they have the tax bills they can count on every year. Our revenue declines. And it's not a steady, and it's not there by law, and it's going down, and I want to make sure that we have funds to operate in the future. So that's why I'm being somewhat conservative and taking it from it went down from 90 to 50 to 40, and this year I'm maintaining it at 40. Again, it's a lower number. It's about $15,000 less than last year at 40% because our net revenues over expenses decreased over the prior year. And in the end, our percentage of gross franchise revenues that we return back. The gross revenues they send us, or we send back, with my proposal, it will be 25% this year, which is the lowest it's been since 2020. Last year, we sent back a net of 30%. In 2023, we sent back 53%. So we are withholding and maintaining for us, for our future use, we're only giving them back 25% of what they sent us. Some of that, we spend it or we were retaining it. There's 2 options there.
So I guess what you're saying is, although you're using 40%, in actuality, this is an excellent document you prepared. Incredible. You should pull that out and keep it, everybody. Really great document. In essence, we are decreasing the amount of money we're sending back. This really makes it very clear.
And that's because we had less revenue, so 40% of less revenue is...
Well, it's less revenue and less expenses, and more expenses. We're sending back 40% of our net.
Okay, gotcha.
And it's after, and last year we sent back 91%. 91,000, this year it's 71. The year before it was 174,000 we sent back.
Okay.
So.
But that was at the 90% level, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yes. Yeah. In 22, it was 171,000. In 23, it was 174,000. Last year was 91, and this year it's going to be 71. And when we first decreased the percentage and sent lower checks back, we were concerned that, what will the cities, our supporting communities say, and nothing. Not a peep. So they had no issue with the fact that they were seeing less money coming back because it's here to be used for the right purposes.
Is there any way to calculate how much the truck depreciates every year? I mean,
Yeah, it's in our financial statements. But again, that's That's a mathematical formula, not necessarily a usage issue. And then the cost of a new truck is substantially higher these days.
Is that considered? I mean,
Well, yeah, I think, I'm guesstimating it's going to be $600,000 or $700,000 at a minimum for a new vehicle, with the equipment installed and everything. I don't know if that's fair. And I think that's what I'm using in my head as far as a number that we may have to put aside and be able to support. And you asked about, I'm trying to find the equipment. We depreciate it, I think, over a 7 or 10-year life. But I have to look.
But as you said, that's artificial, that's just for tax
Our
purposes.
production van, actually, we've got over $1 million in our production van at cost. And it's depreciated 124. The net is like $100,000 now, but overall, we put $1 million into that van over time. And the depreciation expense, George, for this year was $32,000. And it's a non-cash number, it's just for accounting purposes. But, so, I'm looking at $600,000 or $700,000 as the initial cost, so we can take some equipment we can move over to a new van. But we got $1 million in it so far.
And why would we need a new truck? Because mechanically, that one's old, or like, how old is it? Or is it the equipment in the truck is old, or both?
Well, we've been in piecemeal, been replacing equipment over the years, haven't we? Yeah. Sorry, I'm made for radio, not TV.
Well, you do have a good voice for radio.
What's that?
You have a good face for radio.
Thank you. We've been replacing equipment over the years, Chris.
Okay.
So, but mechanically, your question is the truck, what year is the truck anyways?
Steve?
Steve, do you have it?
Commissioned in 2009, I think.
Okay. There you go. It's 15 years.
16,
Okay.
17 years.
Greg, welcome, by the way. Good to see you. Greg Black from BCTV.
In the world of production trucks, Greg, is this considered an old-timer truck? I mean, not so much the equipment in it, but the actual product itself.
Steve told me that I should have the podium.
We all listen to Steve. We all listen to Steve.
He doesn't have a microphone in front of him, that's...
Good morning, everyone. Nice to see everyone again who I have met before. If we haven't met yet, my name's Greg Black. I've been with BCTV for about 16 years, and I'll be coming to board meetings in the future here as the rep from BCTV. So to answer the question, I don't know how many PEG stations have a truck of our scale to compare against, and I don't think it'd be fair to compare our truck to, like, say, a national broadcast level truck or anything like that.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of our I guess peers, you'd say, in the PEG community have kind of altered their operation in terms of the truck. They usually have a vehicle that they bring out, but in terms of it looking exactly like our truck, I think things are changing a little bit. So if you guys get to a stage where you're ready to evaluate what other options there might be, that's something we could explore for you guys. I think the truck as a vehicle is in good standing, and as you mentioned, we've been piecemealing the gear. I think the cameras are probably the oldest piece of equipment in there that are going to be needing updated, sooner than later, because the replacement parts for those cameras are no longer being manufactured. So that's the obstacle we face there. But the what we call the switcher, or for the technical director, which is a TriCaster system, which we have in the room back here, that was purchased, I want to say it was 2018 that those purchases were made. So, in my mind, that feels like it just happened, but it's been 8 years already. So, it varies on the life of the equipment. So, hope that answers the question.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Yep.
And I guess without that truck, I mean, the community would lose a lot, right? 'Cause-
Yes, there is and Steve, if you feel the need to chime in here, you're welcome to. But the truck offers a great deal of convenience. It is essentially a control room on wheels.
Mm-hmm.
The other systems you'd be looking at are the pieces of equipment that you'd be kind of makeshifting a space for, if that makes sense, which I could elaborate on a little bit. But there's a production quality that we gain with it that I think would be lost by moving to something else, and probably an ease of setup for productions that would be lost as well.
Just let me add though, okay, and Greg, you can probably confirm this. There are other communities that don't have trucks that do what we do. Now, they may not do it to the same quality, but they do it. And why I say that is there might be a point in time where we can't afford a truck. In fact, I'm sure we're going to get to a point that occurs because of the diminishing franchise fees and PEG fees that we're getting. True?
I think that could be a fair assumption, yeah.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Abood?
Will you accept just a comment? I had the opportunity to go look at the truck myself personally.
Sure, come right up. Mr. Rockaboo, Village Councilman.
Thank you. So I made it my job to go look at the truck with Steve, and not knowing the technology inside of it, and Steve kind of explained everything else that, would need, either updating or, enhancing. But at the very least, in my mind, representing the Birmingham Cable Board that involves everybody here in our communities, I think at the very least, we should take a look at the exterior of the truck as far as the wrap itself. It's outdated, the logos are not what they're supposed to be, so on and so forth. So I think at the very least, maybe you do a re-wrap, it's very inexpensive, and it would also, portray the image that I think Birmingham, Beverly Hills, and all the communities around us that would say, wow, yeah, that's a cool thing here. They don't know what goes on inside of it, but at the same token, it presents an image. So, and impressions are everything.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
That's something we can consider in the future. So let's get back to the recommendation of Rick. George, knowing this now, do you still think it should be diminished to 30%?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, no, that's fine. That's fine. Anyone else have any feelings on that?
Is it possible
Deanna.
is it possible to tie our diminishing return to the cities by the, the statistic of like 7% from last, you know what I mean? So it's somehow tied to what we're seeing so that the cities understand it, or that just doesn't really make sense?
We rewrote it because we wanted flexibility.
Okay.
Okay, and we have that flexibility right now.
Okay.
Well,
It was just a question.
And if we operate and do our other functions consistent year to year, if there's a 7% drop in revenue, there'll be a corresponding 7% drop in our 40% allocation. So it's tied in that way.
Okay.
All right, so let's do this. I'm going to entertain a motion incorporating Rick's recommendation. We'll see how that goes. If that doesn't pass, then we'll take a motion for a lesser amount or a higher amount, whatever you want to do. But let's start there. So can I have a motion to incorporate the 40% consistent with the numbers in the memorandum that Rick David has prepared?
You already had a motion. Supported.
You're right, I'm sorry.
We're
You're
just
right.
discussing.
So let's take a vote then. So we're voting on 40%. Okay, with the numbers that Rick has in his memo, which I might as well just read them. Birmingham, $44,116. Beverly Hills, $16,036. Franklin, $7,497. And Bingham Farms, $3,717, for a total of $71,366. That's the motion. Okay, Gail, if you want to call the roll, please.
Deanna Brown.
Yes.
Stephen Hageman. Steve Cleary.
Yes.
David Ike.
Yes.
Jody Abraham.
No.
Pete McDonald.
Yes.
Ray Smoot.
Yes.
Bill Buckley.
Yes.
Chris Doby.
Yes.
Bill Beckman.
Yes.
Chris Davis.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes. This is something we're going to have to address every year. So, but Rick, again, thank you. Tremendous how you dealt with this incredible, great memorandum, and this chart is wonderful too. So thank you very much for your efforts.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, let's move on to item number 6, approval of annual playback server subscription, DACB portion. We have Steve Rhoda to address that. Steve.
Good morning, everyone, again. Thank you, Greg, for filling in. Appreciate it. You did a great job. So much better than I would have done. So thank you. So in your packet, you have a quote for an annual subscription fee. This is for your playback portion of BAPA Bama channels, the video on demand portion to where you can access your replays of meetings and municipal or public programming off a Roku, Fire Stick, and also the annual phone support, any software updates, and any information that I need to get from Cablecast. This is an annual fee. Last year, it's $40 more than last year. The amount this year is $3,150. And then this is something that we have to do. If we don't do it, then people who watch on Fire Stick and Roku will not be able to watch the programming anymore. And I will not be able to get, or our staff will not be able to get any support from Cablecast if we have any issues with our playback server.
And this is our portion, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And yes, in your packet, or I don't know, Kathy, did you end up sending that to the board? I believe everybody should have received the total cost, BCTV's costs, and then BACB's costs.
We have that in our packet.
Okay.
Any questions for Steve?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion.
Motion.
Deanna makes a motion to approve the request for $3,150 as contained in the advanced lighting sound quote. Can I have a second? Second by Jim. Any further discussion on this item? Okay, Gail, if you could call the roll, please.
Steve Hageman.
Aye.
Jim Cleary.
Aye.
David Eich.
Yes.
George Abraham.
Yes.
Steve McDonald.
Yes.
Ray Camus.
Yes.
Yes.
Chris Dobie.
Yes.
Bill Bergman.
Yes.
Rick Davis.
Yes.
Deanna Brown.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Item number 7, committee reports. First, Cable Action Committee. George.
Yes, we had a brief meeting after to discuss the website change that we need. And Kathy, we decided we'd collect all of the thoughts, and Kathy would send out a letter to the website provider to see if they could bring the cost down. And we're going to have a meeting after this meeting to discuss that further. I don't know if you've gotten any more information.
I have talked to the folks from UniWeb, and they are working on a revised quote for us. They understand where we're coming from, that the initial quote, it was just not acceptable to us. So based on what I sent them as far as priorities for our website, they are looking at that, and I'm still waiting for a revised quote.
Okay, I'd like to have a brief meeting after, just to look over what we've done so far.
Okay, great. We'll have a meeting following this one.
Okay.
Thank you, George. 7B, PEG Committee. Ray.
Yes. Thank you, Gil. We did have a PEG committee meeting after our January meeting. Chief Lawson from the Franklin Police Department, along with Carrie Lazat, did a presentation on drones and the technology that's being used throughout Oakland County. We decided we were going to get some more information before we make any decisions in that respect. And then also another item that we discussed was Steve gave us quotes on truck expenses, on truck cameras, excuse me. And he's going to be getting some revised quotes, and those are forthcoming in the near future. And we will also be convening a PEG committee meeting after this one.
Okay. Thank you, Ray. 7C, Personnel Committee. Dave.
Yes, good morning. We had a Personnel Committee meeting consisting of myself, Ray, and Jim last week, and we have some recommendations which we'll have a Personnel Committee meeting report to whoever is going to stay after the meeting today.
Okay, great, thank you. Item number 8, Executive Director's Report. Kathy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've listed the 2 complaints that we've received since our last meeting. You might get a chuckle out of the second complaint I listed. It was submitted by a Birmingham resident, we thought, and we turned out, I sent the complaint to AT&T. Turned out that person lived in Birmingham, Alabama. So not something we needed to take care of. The other complaint was a downed wire, and that was submitted by a Beverly Hills resident. I'm now dealing with a new Comcast representative who has been very responsive. I'm very happy to see that. And they are on top of it. They've raised the line, but the line they feel needs to be totally replaced. And so that's forthcoming from them, but right now, at least the wire is back up and not on this resident's, laying in this resident's backyard. I've given you the reports, the financial reports for, as of the end of February. If you have any questions about those reports, let me know. I've listed in my report the checks I wrote since our last meeting. Of note is the grant that we approved for Next, which has been paid. The other one that was of any significance was our liability insurance bill. And then under additional notes, I've listed the name of our new Comcast representative. Her name is Jennifer Jambor, Jambor. And so far, my experience with her has been excellent. That concludes my report. If you have any questions, let me know.
She's incredibly responsive.
Very much so.
Yeah. Any questions for Kathy?
Yep.
Okay, let's move on to item number 10, BAPA-BAMA report. And Greg, you're going to do that today? Yes. Okay, excellent. Greg Black.
Thank you.
Good morning again. Steve prepared his usual report, and you'll see that all of the municipal meetings we regularly cover have been covered. In addition, there was one special Village of Franklin Council meeting that we covered. There's been 33 programs taped by community producers, which you'll see listed there. And then want to let you guys know that we have 11 sporting events that we'll be covering. I believe the first one is on April 9th coming up here with boys volleyball. Is that correct, Steve? And then Steve also outlined the equipment repair that he discussed of the transmitter receiver in there. So I can elaborate on any aspect if you'd like, but if you have any questions, let me know.
Any questions for Greg? Greg, thanks for coming. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Yeah.
Item number 11, old business. Any old business to discuss? Old business.
I do have one old business. And Jim, this is, I guess, directed to you. Any update? We talked earlier this meeting about it.
That's a good point. I'm going to be seeing somebody in Birmingham next week. And it's kind of been kicked around a little bit. It's not a young man from Derby. That's where it started. It got to Birmingham, as you all know. And nobody has responded.
Okay, what we're talking about is, what we're talking about is the significant grant that we made to the Birmingham Public Schools for communications.
180, at least, I read around 180,000.
185, I think it was, yeah.
185?
Mm-hmm.
With no thank you. They really didn't acknowledge it at all. So that needs to be followed up on. That's what I'm going to go.
Okay, so you'll be in a position to report back at the May meeting.
I hope.
Okay, well, you can only do what you can do, I understand.
All they have to do is send a thank you note. It's really, that's it. We could have an executive. I know they cashed Send a note the to check, them. I'm assuming. And somebody needs to
The
talk.
check cleared, definitely cleared.
So what'd you do with the money? They left That's what I town. want to know.
Birmingham, Alabama.
So all of our Birmingham residents,
Hope not.
I'll talk to you about it. I'll let you know.
Okay, thanks, Jim.
All right, we'll do.
Any other old business? Okay, item 12, any new business? Item 13, public comments, nobody here from the public. 14, any board comments? Okay. Okay, our next meeting is May
20th.
20th. Okay, we'll see everyone then. We are adjourned.